The moment we first saw apartment 3B, we thought we'd found our perfect home. It was one of those old pre-war buildings with high ceilings, huge windows, and that charming character you just don't find in new constructions. The rent was a steal. Almost too good to be true for a place this size in the city. The landlord, a quiet, older man named Mr. Abernathy, seemed nice enough. He just handed us the keys and said, "She's an old building. Got her quirks, we huses mild," thinking he meant a leaky faucet or a drafty window. We had no idea what he really meant. The first few days were a blur of unpacking boxers and arguing over where to put the sofa. It felt like a fresh start for me and my partner, Alex. We were excited. But then, the quirk started. It began with small things. A misplaced set of keys. A door we were sure we'd close suddenly standing wide open. We laughed it off, blaming it on moving stress and sheer exhaustion. Then came the noises. At first, it was just a faint scratching sound from beneath the floorboards in the living room. We figured it was just mice, a common problem in old buildings. We set some traps, but they always remained empty, untouched. The scratching grew louder, more insistent. It started sounding less like an animal, and more like someone dragging their nails across wood. It only happened at night, always from the same spot under the old Persian rug. One evening, while watching a movie, the sound was so loud we had to pause it. Alex looked at me, his face pale. "That's not mice," he whispered. I tried to be the rational one. "It's the pipes, the building's settling. It could be anything but." Deep down, I was starting to feel a cold knot of dread in my stomach. This apartment didn't feel charming anymore. It felt watchful. Things escalated. We'd hear faint whispers when no one was talking. Shadows would flicker in our peripheral vision. One night, I woke up to find every single cabinet and drawer in the kitchen wide open. Every single one. Alex had been sound asleep next to me the whole night. There was no logical explanation. We were both on edge, snapping at each other, sleeping with the lights on. The beautiful apartment we had fallen in love with was now a source of constant, creeping fear. The joy of our new home had completely evaporated, replaced by a suffocating anxiety. The scratching under the floor became the focus of our terror. It was no longer just a noise. It felt like a presence, a desperate signal from below. We started avoiding the living room after dark. One night I couldn't take it anymore. The sound was relentless, a frantic, rhythmic scraping that seemed to echo the frantic beating of my own heart. "We have to look." "Primera," sighed Alex, my voice trembling. "We have to know what's down there." He was hesitant, his eyes wide with fear, but he saw the look on my face and knew I wouldn't let it go. Armed with a crowbar from our toolbox, we rolled back the heavy rug. The old wooden floorboards were dark and worn. We found the spot where the noise was loudest. Alex wedged the crowbar into a seam between two planks. The wood groaned in protest. With a final, splintering crack, the board came loose. We pried up another, and then another, revealing a dark, square cavity beneath the floor. A musty, earthy smell, thick with the scent of decay, billowed out, making us gag. We shone our phone flashlights into the darkness. At first, all we saw was dirt and cobwebs, but then the light caught something. Tucked into a corner of the shallow space was a small, wooden box, about the size of a shoebox. It was old, the wood dark and warped. It had a simple brass latch, tarnished with age. My heart was hammering against my ribs. What was TSC who put it here? With shaking hands, Alex reached down and lifted the box out. It was surprisingly light. He placed it on the floor between us, and for a long moment, we just stared at it. The scratching sound now eerily silent. With a deep breath, Alex unhooked the latch. The lid creaked open. Inside, nestled on a bed of faded velvet, was a single object. A child's diary. It was bound in worn leather, its pages yellowed and brittle. On the first page, in a loopy, childish script, was a name. Lily Abernathy. Abernathy, the same name as our landlord. We looked at each other, a silent, chilling understanding passing between us. We began to read. The diaries started innocently enough, filled with the daily thoughts of a young girl. She wrote about her favorite doll, her friends, her secret hiding spot under the floorboards where she kept her most precious things. But as we turned the pages, the tone of the diary shifted. Lily wrote about being sick, a sickness that made her weak, that kept her in bed. She wrote about her father, how he became distant, strange, how he started locking her in her room. The entries grew more desperate, more confused. She wrote about the scratching. She wasn't allowed to make any noise, so she would scratch on the underside of the floorboards, hoping someone, anyone, would hear her. She was trying to signal for help. The last entry was short, the handwriting weak and shaky. It just said, "He won't let me out. It's so cold." A wave of nausea and horror washed over us. The scratching. It wasn't a ghost trying to scare us. It was an echo, the residual energy of a terrified little girl, trapped and forgotten, desperately trying to be heard. We now understood Mr. Abernethy's strange demeanor, why the rent was so cheap. He knew. He knew his daughter's secret was buried right here. He hadn't just given us the keys to an apartment. He had made us guardians of a tomb. We couldn't stay. We packed a bag that night, leaving everything else behind. As we closed the apartment door for the last time, a profound sadness replaced our fear. We looked down the hall, and for a fleeting second, I thought I saw the faint outline of a small girl waving goodbye. We called the authorities from a hotel room, telling them what we found. We never went back, but we'll never forget the secret under the floorboards of apartment 3B, or the story of the little girl who just wanted someone to hear her. Thank you for listening.